What's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel. And, gaming is always an evolving art form, right? It is. People out there may not like one thing year after year, but there are many people out there that entirely do. In fact, Call of Duty, FIFA, Battlefield, Assassin's Creed, so many games now rely on a yearly release that is really just the same product before it with a couple of, well, you could say additions or extra additions or improvements, so on and so forth. But it's when games start having things taken away because it might offend some people is when gamers start getting real vocal. And look, I'm not in any way criticizing them. This is legitimately something they should be mad about. It says here that Xseed producer says canceling SENRAN KAGURA Burst Re NEWAL over censorship issues would hurt devs. And I agree with that. I'm also probably completely butchering the name of this game, and that's okay. I don't play a lot of anime games, but I'm here to support you regardless. Now, it says here, following its announcement of removing SENRAN KAGURA Burst Renewal's intimacy mode upon Sony's request, Xseed is facing criticism from fans who are accusing the company of buckling under pressure, which oftentimes tends to be the case. I mean, look, Xseed is releasing a game. That game needs to have a distribution platform. In this case, it's the PlayStation 4. Sony looks at the content of this intimacy mode. They determine it to be not for them, and then they say, hey, take it out, and people are understandably pissed off. In fact, several Xseed employees, notably localization producer Tom Lipschultz, have been busy explaining why they were forced to. Yeah, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. It's all like why they were forced to remove something. Never mind all the games out there that allow me to violently dismember people like I'm a member of the Saudi government. Not a problem. No one cares. I can play a game where I can literally shove a freaking light post someone's ass and then it's perfectly fine. It's all good, right? I mean, look at anything in Grand Theft Auto games. How violent are those? Super violent. Violence is a-okay. But remember, like the hot coffee mod from San Andreas where you might have seen a titty? Oh my God, the world loses their mind. And that's basically what's happening here. Now, it says here, when fans suggested that the Burst Renewal's PlayStation 4 version could have simply been canceled in retaliation, Lipschultz responded by saying that such a move would be a huge financial blow, not only to Xseed, but also to Honey Parade Games, and would result in the alienation of a fan base that had nothing to do with Sony's decision. Which, again, that is a realistic thing that happens when it comes to business, right? You don't want to miss out on reaching fans that want to play the game. You also don't want to anger other fans, and those fans that are upset and those fans that want to leave, you want to cater to them, but at the same time, it's a bigger picture scenario. Now, if all of the fans, or well, it's never going to be all, but if a majority of the fans that were wanting to see this intimacy mode, because it was in previous titles too, and they wanted to go back into it, decided to not purchase the game, that could push Xseed into pulling out from working with Sony. And the truth of the matter is, the only way that's going to happen is once the game is released and no one buys it. That's literally just all I can really do here. Now, Lipschultz here says, cancellation would deal a huge financial blow to us and the developer, strain our relationships with basically everyone involved, alienate a portion of the fan base who wants to play the game on PS4 regardless, and yes, they do matter, and basically just hurt everyone involved. So what he's saying here is, oh, well, yeah, the removal of this particular mode, which is unfortunate, has a greater impact if we give in to this vocal minority of people that are upset. And again, I'm only saying vocal minority because at this point, I don't know. So I'm assuming that it's a vocal minority. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments, but literally I'm just saying it's a vocal minority right now. And again, I'm not trying to say you are not entitled to being upset about this and wanting to call for a boycott. Removal of these kind of things based upon sensibilities of the West is annoying. It is annoying. It's like in Dead or Alive when they're like, put some bathing suits on those girls. They already got bathing suits on. You just want to remove the jiggle physics. People like the jiggle physics. And as a result of that, it ends up causing this divide in the fan base because we here in the West are prudes. We're prudes. God forbid you see a boob. God forbid you see a nipple. What's going to happen? The end of the world. The hell is going to reign supreme. The ending of Cabin in the Woods is going to righteously fall upon us all. The elder gods will return to the earth because somebody saw a tit. That's essentially how these things kind of play out, and it gets to be kind of annoying. Now, he calls it a lose-lose situation, but he reiterated that the developers and publishers don't have the luxury of throwing away their hard work over one mode, which, look, that is true. That is absolutely true. He also hinted that Xseed wasn't happy with the situation and that there will be some pushback behind the scenes. Well, that's good. Xseed is not happy that their game is having modes removed simply because of the sensibilities of some censor somewhere. It's like, oh, I don't like the fact that there's an intimacy mode. It's been in all the other games, but this goes too far. It's 2018. No one can be intimate. Of course not. Everyone has Tinder, so they just use that to hook up. No intimacy. Intimacy is dead in the West. So when you bring a mode to bring in intimacy, it's met with removal. Stalinist plot, perhaps? Anyway, I mean, it's good to see that they're pushing back a little bit. That said, Lipschultz expresses disappointment over fans blaming Xseed for the fiasco. Well, fans are going to go to where they believe like the most change can happen, right? Fans are going to target what they believe to be is that number one place for that, and that's Xseed. But Sony ain't making it any better. Sony is only going to make this worse on themselves, as evidenced by this exchange from 10 hours ago between Brandon Chad Borez and AskPS_UK, saying here, how could you censor SENRAN KAGURA Burst Renewal when every other game in the series has never been censored on your platform before? Honestly, it's ridiculous. I hope you reverse this decision before you lose fans. PlayStation responds back with, hello, I'm afraid if the content doesn't meet our standards, games do sometimes need to be revised. In this case, you'll need to refer to the publisher statement before more info about this particular change to this particular game and the reasoning. Well, that's such a dismissive answer, isn't it? That's such a hugely dismissive answer. It's, oh, well, it doesn't meet our standards. Again, intimacy is now considered this horrible thing, right? Intimacy is, I haven't played it. I don't know if it's, it's Japanese. It could be some weird shit. I have no idea. I have none, but people seem to like it. People who want intimacy seem to want a mode on intimacy is all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying they're incels. I'm just saying they're very vocal consumers. Now he goes on to say here, then why were none of the other SENRAN Kagura games censored? They all had their intimacy modes in the game. This makes no sense. Which, if the previous games have had this mode intact and this has never been a problem, then what is different here? What is rotten in Denmark in regards to this particular title? I don't know for certain, but neither is this person responding here, because they say here, if every game released was the same, why buy the next? There may be a change to said mode and it doesn't meet our standards anymore. Please refer to the publisher of the game for more information. Okay. Not only is this extremely tone deaf, the guy's got no information there, right? If every game was released the same, why buy the next, right? But look at the comment underneath it. If every game was released the same, why buy the next? Wow, just wow, so consumer friendly. But this tweet down here, this is literally the Madden and Call of Duty business model. Somebody warn EA, Sony is coming next for them, right? And Eldermark here is entirely right. And I actually think Eldermark follows me on Twitter, which is awesome. What's up, buddy? Anyway, I'm just saying, yeah, that's true. That is entirely true. You've got the Ask PlayStation essentially saying, well, if every game that came before it was the same, then why buy it? I don't know. Because all my friends buy it. It's just pretty much the argument everyone uses for Call of Duty every single year. Okay. Or Madden or FIFA or PGA Tour, or I don't know what other games are yearly anymore. Shit. But what I'm trying to say here essentially is people get into series. They like series. Certain modes keep going. If the mode was no longer working for the game itself, if intimacy mode had kind of like come to the end of its run in regards to the game series, then I could understand them removing it from the system, or I could understand them removing it from the game. This has nothing to do with that. This is seriously Sony censoring a game because of what? Why? Who? Where? And how? Well, we know the how. But I mean, no, seriously, this is them censoring the game for no other reason than it no longer meets their standards, but they're extremely vague about what those standards are. So I have to ask the question once again, is it because you get to see a boob? Is it because there's something else there? What is that thing that is so taboo, so terrible, that you're censoring this game that has had it in there repeatedly? Right? Like I said, going back and mention the hot coffee mod from before. That was something that was taken out of the game, but then found by players on PC. It wasn't included in the, in the final product that was playable. It was something hidden in the code, but still came out, caused a stir. I can understand that being an issue. Never mind the fact that 2000 and like what, 4, we were way more prudish in regards to what we can see in content in video games than we are 14 years later. But it's still kind of the same concept. So what's in the intimacy mode that's so bad? And I hope you guys in the chat will tell me. I hope you guys in the chat will definitely fill me in about what the hell is so crazy about this. What the hell is up with this? Because it comes across to me that it's just something called the intimacy mode, and that made some censor somewhere go, "Ooh, I don't like that word. I don't like the word intimate. It just seems so erotic. Children can get this game. Children can play it. Yeah, it's probably going to be rated M for mature. We know it's not going to be adults only. That stuff doesn't fly on there. So again, it's just another censor who is upset at their sensibilities being triggered and therefore causing a game that has previously served its fans very, very, very diligently and loyally to remove something for no other reason than somebody just got mad somewhere. Censorship in art is not something that should happen. Period. Point blank. If it doesn't meet the standards, is it because it doesn't function properly? That's my question. If that's not the case, then don't remove it. Because, yeah, it's not to say what's going to happen here is that fans aren't going to buy it, which is then going to punish the developer. The developer has done nothing wrong here. The publisher has done nothing wrong here. It's the distributor that's got their panties in a twist and that ultimately won't really be impacted by this as much as the other two. And that's the problem. So if Xseed is going to push back, my question is, how much? And I guess my question to that is too, how much is it going to cost you in the long run? Because let's face it, it's going to cost you some sales, even though you guys didn't do anything, and this entirely is Sony's fault. But I want to know your thoughts on this. Let me know down in the comments below. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This has been the Mundane Match Channel. If you guys haven't already commented, be sure to type in renewal. I don't know why. Just renewal in the chat so I know you guys made it. And I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.